aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Weird and Whatever podcast. How is everyone doing today?
Good.
Vicky is back. All right.
Woo! Yeah, I heard you had to bring out the big guns last week and replace me with a real witch.
We did bring a witch in. We did. Mr. Beckett, how are you?
Good. I was a little tired till I got here. You guys are giving me my second wind.
Well,
nice.
That's that energy.
They used to call him Second Wind Pennington.
That's not true. And Denny's, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Vicky, you have two excused absences, but I just want to let you know,
Okay.
one more and I'm going to have to put you in detention.
Oh, okay.
Everything going good, though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very, very nice, very nice. So let's jump into it. I like this email because I'm getting called out right away. Vicky, you get called out. I think you get called out this week as well, Mr. Beckett.
Is it my laugh again?
Well, that does get called out quite a bit, but it's not about your laugh.
Okay.
I am a flat earther. We are a growing movement. We were once laughed at, but now we're being taken seriously because of social media. I hear Jaybird constantly bash social media and how it's turning our world upside down. Could it be that maybe people like Jaybird are part of the problem? With social media, everyone, in all caps, by the way, everyone, so that means they mean business, has a voice. This is fair. Jaybird is on the radio. We are forced to listen to his views. He should have no problem hearing other people's views on social media. We have been lied to, everyone. The earth is flat. Space is not what you sheep think. Wake up before it's too late. Yours truly, Grant from Pompano. All right. Well, he threw a lot at us there. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
My first question would be, how does it make any difference to my life whether the earth is flat or not? I don't see how that's like going to really affect me. I mean, I've been going along the way I have all these years thinking it was round, and if it's flat, I don't see any difference.
Well, if you could prove that everyone was saying it was round and the masses were saying that it was round, then you kind of tear down the credibility of scientists or anybody that said the earth is definitely round. By the way, I totally believe that the earth is round.
I would say, does everybody here believe the earth is round?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not crazy.
So why do you believe that, though?
Well, why is there a growing movement of flat earthers all of a sudden? Are these attention getters?
Yeah. I don't know about that, but when you just said how do I know?
How do you know the
The
earth's
only
round?
thing that I've had like a personal experience for me to have like some concrete. I went to Montana one time years ago, and because of its position, you can actually see the curvature of the earth when you look up at the sky. You can see that it's rounded. So that would be my only personal evidence. When you look up at the sky, it looks rounded. It's
it
not
does,
flat,
but I mean,
so.
it could be a mere reflection from space.
But I think
or
reality is
light.
everyone's perception.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's my perception of it.
Well,
Because
what about the astronauts taking pictures from space? Are you going to say that those are doctored?
yeah, but I mean, do you know any astronauts? Are you friends with these people? Like, you're going on the voice of an astronaut. So I mean, if you take it, the government has astronauts and they're held in high esteem because they have to go through this serious training and they're going into outer space, untapped frontier. So we hold them in high regards, but they could be not even real.
This is verging
They
on
literally
lizard
could be.
people. It's verging on lizard people. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So you
But what proves that they're real?
Because we've had not one astronaut, we've had multiple astronauts from multiple countries, including adversaries, that all are in consensus.
But you could argue that they're all actors. They shoot something into space. Do we follow
I forgot
it?
he doesn't think that we've been on the moon.
But I'm saying, do we follow that rocket into space? There's nothing that says
you
that
do.
thing doesn't just go up.
People follow it in telescopes, so you have multiple crowdsourced opinions of it.
It
as well.
goes and then it disappears.
Yeah, people watch it
and then
in
we're like,
telescopes.
all right, it's in space now.
Okay, claws are out. Kitty wants to play. This is a good little fight here. Let's go ahead and mediate this thing. I just want to go on record right now. Are you saying that you are do you believe in the flat Earth or the round?
I believe that the Earth is round, but I also believe the argument that I have no proof of that. I've only been told the Earth's round. I've seen magazines. I've seen movies. Everybody says the Earth's round, so I'm like, all right, it's round. I have no way of telling if it is unless I built a giant tower or something and looked upon it myself, but I've never done it.
Mr. Beckett, go ahead and respond to that.
Well, just like I said, like you have people from watch telescopes, see the astronauts go up. You have multiple countries, including adversaries. It's not like we're all like all our buddies have gone up to space. Like it's people that we've been in close proximity.
But you can go into space. Space, I'm not denying exists. It's just we're looking at it from down here on a flat. It could be a flat plane, as if we were standing on a plateau.
But people have
looking up.
flown, like the Concorde. Like people fly at high altitudes and can see the curvature of the Earth.
But it could be an optical illusion because of like our atmosphere.
Well,
But if the Earth is flat, then if I start at point A, I shouldn't be able to come back to point A if it's flat.
Well, let me ask you this: why is there all of a sudden this movement of flat earthers? It has grown in popularity. That is the only thing I do agree about in that email that Grant
Just because
popping up.
a lot of stupid things can get perpetuated, and the more it's shared, to your point, on social media, the more people think it's true.
Well, my whole thing about my thing about social media, and I think Grant completely misunderstood what I was saying. We are, without a doubt, social media creates a mood, and there is a certain mood that it can create, like a negative one, which I'm seeing. I can see it.
It's a mob mentality.
It is a mob mentality. Of course, there's good things about social media, but it's so powerful, there's definitely going to be some bad things about it, and I just think we need to be careful.
And people doctor pictures. That recently that's happened, where they took a picture of someone and they changed what they had in their hand. And it became this big thing, looking like someone had torn up the Constitution, and that's not what that person had in their hand. So you also have to watch, because social media, those people don't have a responsibility to tell the truth all the time. They take pictures and they doctor them. They make up stories and put them on fake websites that don't have any backing to them. That, I think, is another problem with social media, is that you got to figure out what's true and what's not.
Well, it's, again, blurring the lines. I think sometimes a blurred line might be more devastating than just flat out lie or flat out truth, because it's got a little bit of both, and that breeds really a lot of confusion.
There's laws being invented now, created now, just to counteract all this social media negativity. This is a new frontier where people can communicate, and for the first time ever, you can communicate to the masses with zero credibility. You have to have nothing to your name, and you're allowed to speak on this platform that tells everybody what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm not against people giving their opinion out on social media. I think they should, and I think that's a good thing. My whole thing is giving it 100% credibility because you put it on social media. There's a difference with expressing your opinion and then it being covered by nine publications like it's the gospel.
I'm
That's
totally on
insane
board.
to me.
I'm totally agree with all of you guys, and I would just say that anything you learn in terms of research and the scientific process is you gotta we've talked about this before, how important the source is. So the credibility of the people that have researched this, whether they're an astronaut from the ground, telescopes, the curvature of the Earth, how the sun rises, whatever data they use, as much data and different kinds of data as they use, they're qualified to do that. Grant, I don't know what he does, but I would assume that the overwhelming majority of people that are in consensus that are scientists are probably way more qualified than he is.
Well, the scary thing about that is I don't know any of these scientists. It's just somebody giving you data. I mean, I know they're credited, but how do you know that just because somebody says that?
So, so Vicky, you being in the education field, I think what Denny's is saying is people are just told these set of things, these set of facts their entire life, and they never, ever actually have a personal encounter with it. They're just told to believe something. Does he have a point about the flat Earth? Does anybody have a point with the flat Earth? You being in education?
Absolutely. I mean, we used to say that Pluto was a planet, and then all of a sudden they say that it's not. So, yeah, you can't take everything that's been told from day one and take it as the absolute gospel. Absolutely. But like I said, for me, it's just a matter of logic. If I start at this point and I'm following a straight, flat line, I can't come back to that exact same point. It's never going to happen. So at some point, I had to make a turn. So.
I do find it hard to believe if we lived on a flat Earth.
Yeah.
You just like stirring it up, don't you, Danny?
Well, I just like making the argument that we have no idea where any information comes from. It literally just comes from voices, articles, New York Times, whatever. These could be companies that are just created literally to spread news. And you have no idea unless you literally go out there and climb a mountain. You have no idea seeing the curvature of the earth. You're just reading it and believing it.
So I do see your philosophy, and I think you're right to a certain extent. I think that mindset can also be way to one side, and then nothing's real. And after you know that there are some things that are credible, some things really do happen. Some things you're not there for when they really do happen. Doesn't mean they weren't.
And absolutely, and based on your own experiences.
And you have to be careful too. Like I think on here, I think we're all careful. We say that we're giving our opinions, and I always say, don't take this is just my experience. Don't take it for gospel. But there are people that probably listen to the show and they say, well, Vicky said blah blah blah, so that's the absolute truth. That's the way they take it because we are in a position where we're able to get the things that we talk about out there to, a lot of people.
Yeah, but I would just say anybody, even on a public forum, I mean, just because someone's got a microphone doesn't make them right. They're just a human. Everybody in any kind of position is just a human with an opinion. I mean, nobody's 100% accurate on anything. And just because, I mean...
But unfortunately, there are people that believe that people are accurate.
They do, but I also... and I would counter that and say I would question everything somebody says and do research. I mean, just don't blindly listen to anybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would, even in school, I would say don't blindly. I mean, I think we've learned that you have to question things. I think questioning things are a healthy thing.
It's important. That's what people in science do. They question things. But there's a level of a journal. Like depending on the academic journal, it's a higher rated journal, right? And for the highest rated journal, like only 6% of articles submitted to it get into it. So there's standards, right? And when you do research, make sure you're not listening to InfoWars. You're not going to some guy that started some website out of nowhere. Like, make sure that you're filtering your sources. It's really, really important.
Well, you even see it in religion. You could have a group of people who believe the same religion, but within that religion, they're fighting against each other with all these subset of rules. And even with that same religion, you're going to have people see things differently, have different,
many interpretations.
For sure. And I mean, that goes back to social media. You can write something on social media. You can intend for that to be funny. Oh, this is going to be funny. And you may be able to say it in person and it's funny, but you put something down on print or you put something down, on the keyboard, it just comes off different. People get in trouble for saying something and then
misinterpreting.
Yeah, then putting it down on social media, and then it's off with their head, done with their job. It's crazy.
I would have a side point. I mean, we're only on this merry-go-round around the sun so many times, and it's a question as to how many times we're going to get to do that trip, right?
Unless you believe in reincarnation.
Unless you believe that we're not circling around the sun anymore.
The sun's not real, man.
We're just a disc.
But what I would say is that if you have that curiosity of questioning things, which I agree with everyone that it's healthy, it's important, like why not go with something that's doesn't have such a large consensus on, and like focus that energy and curiosity on something that like curing cancer. Like stop worrying about these all these other like silly things that seem to be by very credible people pretty settled. And to Vicky's first point, at the end of the day, like what difference is it making? Like he's like spending an hour a day looking at flat earth stuff on Facebook. Like use that curiosity and see how you can help people.
All right. Well, I will end that segment. Very contentious between Beckett and Denny's. That's one of our biggest fights in the Weird Whatever podcast.
Space always throws a stick of dynamite in there.
It does.
Nobody knows the answers out there.
Well, you're not off the hook yet, Mr. Beckett. Dear Weird and Whatever, Ryan Beckett claims to be an animal lover.
Oh.
Does he believe in killing roaches? Do you believe in killing roaches?
No.
You don't? Okay.
So if they're on your comforter and you're laying there
and they're looking at you,
you hear like scuffling.
I actually think it's more disgusting to crush the cockroach than to like take the blanket and like flop it outside. They
have that roach filling. Ugh.
That said, I'm an animal lover. I'm a veg, but like I've said before, if a bear is coming at me, like I'll shoot the hell out of that bear. Like I think that to outwardly go and oppress animals, torture animals.
You don't go out of your way.
I don't go out of my way. If there's a mosquito,
self-defense is different.
If there's a mosquito, I think a mosquito is a better question than a cockroach. Because that cockroach is not going to give me encephalitis or something like that. Or a mosquito is more likely to give one of my dogs heartworm.
But
you know?
roaches are.
So if something poses a threat to me or my loved ones, then yes, I'll protect. I'll kill the mosquito on my arm.
Well, does he believe in killing roaches? I do not believe in killing them. I feel like anyone who would kill a roach and in the same breath claim to be an animal lover is a big time hypocrite. I believe animals, including roaches, have a soul. I was very offended to hear Vicky scoff at the thought of roaches having a soul. Not cool, Vicky. She actually really wrote that. So does Vicky want to retract her statements about roaches not having souls? Sincerely disappointed.
The only roaches I've killed was with Denny's.
Oh, dude, I crush roaches on the daily.
Vicky, you've been called.
First of all, I don't recall saying that they didn't have souls.
She could have, you know.
That I don't. But hey, I could be wrong. I don't remember everything that comes out of my mouth. So that's it. It's just, you know, I will stop and let an ant cross before I close my gate and things like that. There's just something about, I'm not scared of roaches, but they're just, I'm sorry, they're just.
Do they have souls?
They're nasty. I don't know. I've never encountered a roach on the other side.
How horrifying would a roach ghost be? Oh my gosh.
Or just like a ton of them.
Oh my god.
Like a hive.
You think they're real roaches? They're spirit roaches?
That was the only thing that Indiana Jones was afraid of, wasn't it? Was
No.
roaches?
Indiana Jones.
Snakes and roaches.
Snakes, right?
And then his father was rats from Last Crusade.
Got it.
Did you like Indiana Jones, Vicky? Mm-hmm. Were you a Harrison? Did you think Harrison Ford was a hunk?
No.
No?
Not
I
my
thought he
type.
had a good look.
Hey, he had a great look.
Yeah.
All right.
You
Wasn't
running
my
into
type,
Harrison?
No.
All right.
I think roaches are kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. If one's crawling on me, I'm gonna like get the heebie-jeebies. But I think roaches kind of cool. I mean, they've survived since the dinosaurs.
They
haven't
are a creation. Yeah, they outlast everything. They've been around, I think, the longest.
They get a bum rap, and so do mice.
They're just gnarly. I
Some
don't know.
resilient mofo's.
Oh yeah. Well, they have the ability to adapt really quick. They give such giant like broods out that they just.
What is this? The roach?
Yeah, the roach.
Yes. Well, I just saw something where
cucaracha.
they said roaches can stay underwater for up to 30 minutes.
So they evolve quickly because they repopulate so often.
Well, yeah, so when you think you're going to block them out from the front door, they're getting in the tunnels and they can be in the water for 30 minutes. Ugh,
Yeah.
That's gross.
Well,
man.
if you believe in reincarnation, you would then probably believe roaches have souls, I would imagine.
Yeah. So when you kill them, you're doing them a good thing. They can come back as a
An even
grasshopper
shittier
or
bug.
something.
I just feel like if we have talked about animals having souls before, which we have, and I think we were all on board, of course, with dogs having
Yeah.
souls and cats. Of course, the human way, we don't give a shit about the roaches. But in theory, if those type of animals have souls, why is it so crazy to think a roach or a worm would
Or
have
what
a
if
soul
you had
too?
a pet fox that you loved? It must be
Yeah.
a loved
I
creature.
totally agree with you. It's a great point. Just the cute ones have.
Yeah, how's that work?
Think about it. You kill all these ants.
Wizards don't got souls?
And I swear to you, I am not at all speaking on an agenda here. I'm just thinking on more semantics here. But you just go through, start killing all these ants, and you don't even realize that you are exterminating life. Is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? Or does it not matter at all? That is the question.
It's totally more likely that it's the wrong thing, you know. Why not err on the side of caution? You know, like there's no reason. And again, unless the hypothetical where you're in risk from a mosquito or a bear, or something that's threatening you or something that you love.
So you're like anti-mosquito.
They carry diseases.
For sure.
So
for sure.
screw them.
So
Aren't they important though?
I'm not gonna go mosquito hunting.
For sure.
But if there's a mosquito on my dog or on me, yeah, I'll probably.
Well, that person's gonna be very disappointed in you. You are a hypocrite according to her theory.
I have a right to defend myself.
And they spray for mosquitoes like so often here. You guys, and then all those mosquitoes are covered in poison, and then they fall into the water, and then fish eat them.
they're just
mutate.
they're just needle sticking you. It's just horrible.
Yeah, I think they're probably necessary for the ecosystem. It's just like,
Boy, you guys can't get on the same page tonight. Man, you guys sound like an old married
dude,
couple.
I hate me some mosquitoes. I'm just saying.
We know you clearly have an agenda. Anti-mosquito.
Dude, I got like a full 8 of sleep, so I'm like that means I slept 8 hours before doing the show this morning. So I feel great. That's a lot of sleep. we typically don't get that many hours in a row.
Okay. No,
It's coming in guns blazing.
he is. I like controversial Denny's. He's spicing this place up. So the last couple nights around 3:30, me and my dad hear something on our patio, and I live in an area where a lot of people walk through, so I'm always talking about these stories of people coming in my patio, and they sometimes go near Denny's, but he's got like a major lock on his patio, and I do not. It broke. So sometimes people go in my patio, and the last couple nights, you hear the dog barking, and then you walk out to the patio, and my bike is moved, and then the door is unlocked. And so we moved the bike the next night. The next night, same thing. Around 4 o'clock, you hear the door, you hear the dog barking. So I made a list up of the creepiest things you hear at nighttime. For me, helicopters at nighttime scare the shit out of me. I don't like that sound. It's
If
eerie.
it's like 2 a.m. or past.
I don't like it. And I feel like they're looking for a murderer. You see the spotlight. I had that happen one time where the helicopter was real low and they put the spotlight in our backyard.
That's weird.
That will wake you up. and
That's
scare the
weird.
crap.
When I was staying in Gardens, not to cut you off.
Go
but,
ahead, cut me off, please.
Yeah. Well, so I was staying in Gardens, and these, I guess, convicts kicked out this van door that was transporting them, and like 4 of them escaped, and they were running through the neighborhood. And back then I smoked cigarettes. I was sitting on the porch smoking a cigarette, and cops are jumping over the fences, and there's spotlights. It was insane. And then I just hid my stash real quick. But yeah, those things are terrifying. And ever since then, I've had like this unnerving feeling when I hear them.
Anything you want to add to the list? What is unnerving at nighttime that scares the crap out of you?
Well, if you heard a child's laughter and you didn't have a child in the house.
I've heard that before. You know I've heard that, Vicky. Knocking. I think knocking. 2:30 in the morning knocking. Why are you at my door at 2:30 in the morning?
Oh, one time my door, because my room used to be a family room, and I converted it to a bedroom, so I have an exit door. And it was like just like a couple minutes before midnight. And we have my doors on the side, and then there's the front door. Well, next thing I know, bam, 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 on the door, which is like just a few feet from my head. Scared the absolute crap out of me. It was a pizza delivery, but not for my house. And,
That is scary.
Yeah, and they're like, and then I was suspicious, so I'm like peeking out the blind trying to find the license plate number, and then I even checked like how late did Domino's deliver and stuff to see if it was all a scam.
Like a
but it was another
scam.
house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was raised to when the door knocked, you either run and hide or you're, who is it? That's how my mom would answer the door. Who is it? I'm like, Mom, it's just the mailman. I mean, calm down. So yeah, knocking I think is very scary. Dogs barking. That means the murderer's running through your area with an axe.
What about a broken light? It's like shooting sparks out every now and then.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
The buzzing of a light. You don't think that's scary?
That's pretty creepy. I don't know. Becky, you're awfully quiet.
I
You
don't
don't
know.
you don't get scared at night? I thought think about your bitch boy Becky. You gotta
Yeah.
get scared.
Not from anything like spiritual, more like, you
A
know.
woman whispering, "I'm pregnant."
Some people
Or
that
two of 'em.
some people that's a great thing. For some people it's very
That
horrifying.
wouldn't be good for me. Some rats crawling around in the attic. That's kind of creepy.
Roaches because you're a roach hater.
Rochator.
So if I'm like staying at the house by myself, no one's home, occasionally it's weird. If it's really dark, like the moon is like a sliver, and for some reason the house is dark, I'll get this weird feeling that somebody's standing behind me and following me.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and nothing. And sometimes if I'm real scared, I'll walk backwards up the stairs.
Yeah, Vicky, someone said that when you do get the feeling that you are being watched, that's
pretty
your,
unnerving.
Probably are.
That's your intuition saying that you definitely are. And I'm talking on the spirit form.
Yeah, you probably are. You're being watched if you feel like you are.
When your skin's
And,
crawling.
Are you
and,
being
and
watched
that's
by-
actually one of the questions on our questionnaire that we do before we do an investigation. Feeling of being watched. That's one of them.
Do you feel, is it more profound if you're being watched by many, or is it just one fixating on you enough to like call to you, I guess?
I don't know. I guess most people aren't in tune enough. It doesn't have. It can only be just one, and they can feel it.
Like a
and they can't
glimpse of a
distinguish that
feeling.
there's a whole group behind them. I can distinguish that there's a whole group behind me, but
Picking up on your psychic abilities, just kind of reading the room right now. Try to, if you don't mind, try to pick apart our moods here.
well, Denny's is hyper.
Moods.
He must be smoking that. What kind of caffeine weed?
Sativa.
The sativa. Yeah, Beckett. Thank you. Yes. Beckett jumping in.
Okay, so Danny says, Hyper, what do you sensing with Mr. Beckett over there?
He's always chill. He's always just like, shh.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot.
We
I
had a
mean,
long drive.
A couple times he's been a little upset, like
Yeah.
towards the
That
beginning
was
when we
a-
were first doing those.
I can
podcasts.
sense you're in a good place right now. I can sense that.
That's because I'm with you guys.
Oh, look at this guy. He got great hair and he's a sweetheart. All right, Vicky, what are you picking up on me?
You want to eat pizza?
Oh, clearly. Clearly.
Eat it or wear it.
Hey, you don't have to be a psychic to know that. So we do. You guys believe in doppelgangers?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a Ryan Beckett that looks exactly like you out there?
When doppelgangers, I just think that there's like striking similarities. I don't think like what do you mean? What's your definition of a doppelganger?
So this is the email someone sent. I saw my doppelganger the other day and it freaked me out. This person was about 20 years older than me but looked identical. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Why do we have doppelgangers? Steve from Daytona. Vicky?
Well, if people, I mean, let's just go from a scientific standpoint. I mean, there's only so many genes running around there. So the likelihood that there's somebody out there that's very similar to you, I think there's a high probability. Now, the legend of doppelgangers also goes hand in hand with if you see yours, it's supposed to be a harbinger of something bad coming.
Ooh.
So it's supposed to be a negative sign if you see your own. So but that's just
Interesting.
legend.
That's legend. I wonder if there's some truth to that. I did see my doppelganger. I was about 8 years old, kind of like that email. This kid got out of this car and he was going to a garage sale and I was probably like 7 or 8. This kid must have been about 14 or 15. He looked just like me and we locked eyes and had this weird moment, and it was bizarre, man. It was very odd.
I saw one when I was in 5th grade and went to Washington, D.C. There was a girl from another school that looked very, very similar.
Who's your
to myself.
celebrity? Your celebrity doppelganger? Suzanne Summers. Suzanne Summers is hot.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah.
She was Thigh Master, right?
She was Chrissy from Three's Company as well.
Yeah.
Denny's doppelganger. Can you see Keanu Reeves a
Oh,
little
definitely.
bit?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think we're actually pretty like similar genetic build. We're both Eurasian, so we're similar. So there's a prime example.
You guys
And
almost talk the same though too. He's got like that like chill talk.
Yeah, I think it's just the side effect of being Eurasian.
Becca, you got a celebrity doppelganger?
Yeah, it's that guy from Magic Mike, from White Collar.
Oh yeah, there's an actor from the movie Magic Mike.
You
I forget
guys
his
do
name.
bear a striking resemblance.
I've got Matt Bomer. I've got the guy that plays Dexter, that serial killer guy.
Oh yeah, I can see that a little
See
bit.
that a little bit?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're more handsome than him, but
Thanks, Denny's.
but
Oh, they made up.
if you go by the Bible, technically everybody would look similar for a really long time in that book because, I mean, born and just reproducing. So it would take a long time. In fact, I think a lot of people would look very similar for a long time before anyone started to even branch out, especially back then when everybody tried to keep their blood, like the lineage, I guess, going.
I'm still trying to figure out that Adam and Eve thing.
Yeah. So I kind of figure that there's more than one doppelganger. There's more than one Vicky lookalike. There's
Totally.
probably 20. There's a British Vicky. There is
Okay.
a Hungarian Vicky.
And like there's people that like are good at like doing makeovers and making someone look like someone based on their facial hair, their haircut, you know, depending on what kind of physical shape they're in. Like you can change it up.
If you look at timeline too, I mean, even if you don't think in just the present, all the way in the past. In fact, I saw a movie from like the 1920s. It was an old Western, and there was this really striking female in it. She was younger, and she looked very, very beautiful.
Very, very striking dame.
She was a good-looking dame, but she looked just like my buddy Andrew Begeman, like to the T. And I didn't show it to him because it was on like AMC, so I couldn't. There was no rewinding back in these days, and like.
Oh,
I've never been able to find it again to show it to him.
I totally dated a girl. And she was beautiful, but she looked just like Clint Eastwood. I kid you not. But she was beautiful. I don't know how else to explain it.
She's like, you want to get lucky, punk.
she was a beautiful, younger Clint Eastwood. I never told her that.
He was a good looking. I mean, I imagine she was good looking.
He was striking. Yeah, no, it was not a knock against her.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it's weird.
I understand what you're talking about. Vicky, you had something to bring in today. We all were supposed to have some homework.
Well, it actually ties into earlier we were talking about souls.
Yes.
And today we had field day at school, so I didn't have regular duty. I was shoveling popcorn. But one of the teachers came and we started talking. And we talked about, I have done readings before where someone has died young. And I've been shown that on the other side, they actually get to grow up. So then she asked me the question. She says, well, what about, say, aborted fetuses or miscarriages? You know, does that theory carry through to them as well? And I said, well, you know, I haven't ever been shown that, but you would think that it might follow through. So if what I see is correct, and if you die young, you get to grow up on the other side, would a fetus or someone who has never been born, would they have that same option?
I guess my other question would be, too, is what is the age cutoff to where a kid is, you know, able to just pass on and not have to come back to do any work or be...
So if they're still in utero, are you saying if they die in utero, would they pass on to the afterlife?
That's a question that is so, layered and heavy.
And then that's what, because then we got into, well, what actually constitutes conception? And after that, what is it? When are they viable? When is that a viable person? When do they get a soul? Is it, you know, what if they're still in a petri dish, you know, and
well, I mean, like you were saying too, if someone's young, they pass on and they grow up but what is that age cutoff when they can just move on? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 10?
Right.
Do you know that answer?
No.
Is that something that is judged by? Is that a God question?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough.
And the other question is too, it's like you look around and you see people that die when they're 2, 5, whatever. There's some people that believe that's because in this particular lifetime they had so little to learn, they've done so much work in their previous lifetimes that they only had to be here for just a little while, and then they were able to go on.
But that would be falling into a reincarnation type of situation.
Right. So that's one of the theories out there why people die young, is that they just had a little bit of work to do.
Wow, that's heavy, and I don't have a rebuttal. Only thoughts. Only thoughts. Well, you silenced the room, Vicky.
It's a hard one to touch. It's a hard one to touch because, you know, it's. I don't think that humanity will ever reach a point of agreement and consensus as to when life starts. The only way that we can fix that is to prevent, like whether that's technology, medicine, to prevent unwanted pregnancies is the only thing we do. One of the things that I find sad, scary, weird, whatever, is that we have an inconsistency in our laws where, you know, you have, you know, terminating a pregnancy, which is legal, and then you have something where if that same person, mother, was in a car accident, then, and there was a drunk driver, for example, that person would be hit with a double homicide. So that's like a weird. I mean, not to get like too heavy, but
no, I don't think this is heavy at all.
It's
what's going on? Not to
trying to cough.
Not to interrupt your point, but right now, just
okay. Now my mic's on.
My
I could have coughed when it was off, though.
So he's literally saying the deepest stuff possible. Like
I felt bad. I was trying not to distract him as I'm picking at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I don't really want to touch that situation right here.
Yeah, fair.
Only because it's such a contentious issue.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to any kind of agreement, and we're talking about a spirit of. It's very tough.
It's very tough.
I don't have the answer, and
we're probably better off sticking to flat Earth.
Yeah. I thought do you have any ghost stories, Vicky?
Well, I did when I was in Jamaica. I went to Rose Hall, which has been featured on Ghost Hunters International, Ghost Adventures, and Ghost Brothers have all visited there because it was the home of the White Witch. So that was interesting to go and hear the ghost stories associated with it.
Yeah, it's crazy how many ghost stories and me and Denny's were looking up possessions in dolls, and just on that subject alone, there's so much folklore and so many stories all through the world about dolls getting possessed and scaring the shit out of people.
You wonder why dolls, like, is it because we assimilate that as a person so we can recognize it instead of like an object. Like why aren't you haunted by forks? Why would silverware be exempt from things that could haunt you?
Such a pothead thing to say, but yet that's a great point. Why could you, why is it dolls that are running around scaring people but not a plate full of egg salad?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
mean,
totally get what
technically,
you're
you think
saying.
Any possession,
I'll tell
whether
you
it be
why.
a necklace or a charm.
Because egg salad possession's not sexy.
It's not sexy
A
at all.
doll is horrifying.
Doll's scary. It actually kind of just proves how much we're swayed by movies because we grow up seeing these things and we just think that's how they are.
So when I was younger, I always thought, oh no, movies, they don't shape anything. And
They influence you kind of.
bullshit, man. I mean, you watch stuff, things influence you.
Absolutely.
For sure. But again, I would say, I think that's a good thing because it forces to ask questions. Just don't get crazy with it.
And it helps you get creative.
I think it does help you get creative with anything. I think you can take things too far. But yeah, I think, all the way, back into olden times, entertainment and all that stuff is necessary. Entertainment's necessary to get people's
It's been around
minds
since
off
the
of things.
beginning.
It's been around. Well, I think we're all here looking to be entertained. Are you entertained?
But think about how boring it would be if we all had the same opinion and we all just agreed with each other all the time. It'd be boring.
I completely agree with you, and I think for some reason, and I'm not saying everybody, but I feel like when people disagree with other people, they don't like hanging out with those people. I feel like people like to hang out in their off time
With people that they get along with that has similar views and share commonalities.
Well, have you ever had somebody, no matter what you say, they're constantly questioning you? No,
Yeah.
the sun's not orange.
It's exhausting.
It gets exhausting. So, my question is, can people argue with each other and have a different of an opinion and still want to hang out with one another? I'm talking about on major issues, not whether you like this or like a sandwich or if you like meat. I'm talking about major issues that are contentious.
Yeah.
Are you able to have different opinions? Is that in our DNA that we're able to do that, or are we just built to nope, you don't agree with me, I can't hang out with you?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think the answer is it depends. Like I have some good friends of mine that are hunters, and that's totally against what I'm into. But I tend to fall somewhere in the middle, and I think that sometimes people are so staunch that there's no like I have my ways that I think, and I'm not staunch in it, but I really believe and I'm passionate. I don't flip flop, but I'm willing to have an open mind and to bring everyone else's perspectives in and how they were raised, certain things. And my big thing is willful ignorance. Like if you're ignorant because of how you were raised, it wasn't your experience, was your level of whatever that case may be. But if I'm telling you something, and you just are so staunch in your mindset that you don't want to hear my facts, well, that's where I have a problem.
It's flat. The Earth is flat, Ryan. Yeah.
That's where I have a problem.
I see. Vicky, to comment.
Yeah, I love listening to people who have different opinions, even if I don't agree with it, and I usually take something from that conversation.
Yeah.
And it may make me think about something and rethink how I feel.
Okay, what if it's somebody that main values for you personally, they are on the complete opposite, and it can be about anything. Can you still hang with that person, even though they are so opposite on the way you think?
I mean, I have friends that are complete opposite in their political beliefs, and we just don't talk about politics.
That's interesting. And I'm just merely asking the question here.
Well, I think everyone has their red line, right? If someone was, abused animals or was
somebody did something that was a
Right.
red flag
Yes.
for you, you would not hang.
and
All
that-
the stuff we were talking
and that's
earlier
what
is
I'm talking
or
I'm
racist or
Yeah.
anything like that,
Yes.
done.
That's
Yeah,
superficial
I
stuff.
agree.
Stuff that hurts your core values.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with you. I mean, there's some people that they're the way they are looking at the world is just morally wrong, and there's really no denying it.
Yeah.
You boot them out.
Yep.
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
And I was talking more of the matters of the heart because I do get emails from people all the time saying, "Look, I've got an opinion and they got an opinion, and we can't see eye to eye," and it's ripping them apart. It's more relationship type of stuff, so it's not really weird and whatever, but they're not changing their opinion, and it almost sounds like they are miserable because the one person doesn't see it their way.
Think about it. There's an arrogance to humanity as a whole because we have no governing body telling us what to do. We had to create our own system so we could coexist with each other. So it's man-made. There's nothing to tell you anything of what you can't do. And since there's no governing body, a person feels like they should be able to do whatever they want to do that makes them comfortable in their lives. And if anyone tries to think differently from what they've grown into as what they've wanted or expect from life, they're going to have issues because people have different ways that they want to live.
Well, I think you're right, except some people have religion as a governing body, right? And that governing body gives them the excuse to be moral or to do something that's nefarious. Like the religion sword has cut both ways throughout history.
Well, so we have religion as a place where people can go and get beliefs together, and then we have sects of that with different ones who have variations or interpret it differently. Then you have the government, which governs everyone. Then you have like a world government where there's world laws that you cannot commit, like genocide and such.
Right. And the only other things that constrain you or govern you, if you will, is things like death, right? Like you can't do certain
That's
things.
the only inevitable.
Right? Like because you're either going to be hurt yourself or you're going to kill yourself, or if you do something. So that's like a constraint, right? Like you can't just go have, unprotected. I mean, you could, but you're increasing likelihood if you're going to.
Well, you're allowed to
have
do whatever
somebody-
you want. You could literally do, if you don't tell people, if you're going around being a bad person and not telling people you have a disease or anything of the such, I mean, that's on you as a person.
Right.
We put laws in state as people just to keep people sane and controlled to where we could live lives normally.
Right.
And that's all man-made to control us from what we decided ages upon ages ago, and empires have been built, empires had fallen over the times because their systems didn't work as well. And it's really, I think if you infringe on anyone's happiness or whatever they determine to be their happiness, I think there's always going to be conflict just because they don't think the same things you do,
Right.
unfortunately.
Another email, speaking of the government. Hey, weird, whatever. My girlfriend believes that the government makes diseases and then unleashes them into the public.
Oh, yeah.
She tries to explain why they would do that, but then she
I know
sounds...
Beckett can't believe it, but...
Yeah, she tries to explain why they would do that, but when she does, she always sounds insane. What do you guys think? Do you think the government makes diseases, or have they ever? And then do they unleash them out into the public? If they did, what would be their reason? Love the podcast. Rick and Julie from Miami. They want us to talk about, I guess the girlfriend believes that the government had a hand in chemtrails. They have there's always the one theory that the government helped create cancer and AIDS. Those are all, some of those conspiracy theories. All right. I know, Beckett, you don't believe that stuff. You don't think the government's ever done anything to where they've poisoned the people?
No.
Ever?
Ever. The United States government's purposely poisoned the population?
Yes.
That's the question?
That is the question.
Never.
Never? Okay. Vicky?
I think they have.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I would say that they probably, I think there's probably some kind of connection between certain diseases that might have been, created in conjunction with the pharmaceutical companies in order to create the drugs to counteract this thing that they've released in order to generate money.
Becky, you want to go ahead and counter that?
So my counter to that is that to qualify or to fully explain my position, I agree that there are things in privatized business and money interests where the ROI may not make sense on a cure, and maybe some cures haven't gotten fully developed as a result, but that's just more in the private sector. The fact that the government, which is remember, our government are representatives that are cycled in and out of the door, both in the House, like the Congress, the Senate, executive branch, private contractors, and things always come out, especially nowadays. The fact that the scale of a conspiracy to that level, that nefarious, it just, if that came out to be any basis or any form of any shred of truth, it would bring the whole government down.
Well, you see it sometimes with aliens. You see that there's levels of information, and could you argue that there are levels? We're not talking about people who are working the mid-range part of these jobs. We're talking about just an elite 1% of the government, a position that you may not even know about, that would do something like that for evil reasons, and not even just with a poison type of thing, about stuff like aliens, stuff like UFOs, all that kind of jazz.
I just think that the motives and the intentions, the reasons for doing it, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like, we've never instituted a one-child policy like China to try and restrain population. Like, the fact that the United States had to, we've never tried to restrain population.
But something like the China thing's out in the open. This would be behind the scenes.
Right, I'm saying that I would think that policymakers would try to institute some kind of restraints on pregnancies and births and population growth and something like that in a more open area. And okay, maybe if you could make a case like we weren't able to get that through, and we had a big problem with our population. In fact, growing populations is what helps our economy. It causes development.
Denny's, I know you got something to say.
Yeah, the only concerns, I guess, of the entire planet is just how much food we can produce and how much water we have left. So those are the two most important things, like above gold, above everything else. So population control is an absolute necessity. It has to happen. Yeah. I imagine that the government would definitely do something like that to keep the numbers down or keep them controlled or at a steady pace. Because, I mean, if you look at the stats at how many people are being born every year, it just increases.
So
it'll become Soylent Green at some point.
So I'm gonna get an email saying, okay, you guys you're saying a lot of shit without any kind of facts, any kind of numbers, any kind of research, and you're going on a gut feeling, you're going on instinct. What would you say to somebody that has something to say? Hey, Denny's, you're not bringing anything to the table other than your opinion.
I would just tell them to think about it. We already have third world countries where people can't get food. Yeah. And our population is continually growing. You don't think the higher ups of the government have thought about the future of our planet?
You can look at studies by the United Nations, World Health Organization, all that. Like the sustainability of our growth is just frankly not sustainable. And I'm going to be the annoying vegan right now and just say if the whole world were to go vegan, it solves our water issue, solves our food issue. It helps enormously with climate change. You know how much food and water and resources we pump into livestock? It's absolutely crazy.
For sure.
But you're not getting all vegan?
But
this podcast is definitely going to get some emails. Like,
it's inevitably going to be a problem. There's no way that people who are in control of whatever they're in control of, at whatever position, has not thought about that.
Well, okay, so let's switch gears here, but sort of in the same vein. The whole alien thing. Why would the government, because this is the shit I always get, why would the government not just tell us? What purpose would the government have to lie about aliens being real or fake? Why would they just not give it to us? Vicky, you want to comment on that?
Because they're trying to get an angle where they can take advantage of the situation somehow. I'm not a big government person. So I think that they might keep things under wraps so they can figure out how to turn it to their advantage.
And I mean, and you do believe aliens have visited Earth?
I'd say it's a good chance.
I without a doubt. It's
for sure.
It's almost like a knowing, but again,
our podcast depends on it.
So someone's going to email and go,
it is the fuel.
Just by having a knowing or just having a personal belief on something doesn't make it factual. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Think about those dumb laws we still have where you can't have an elephant tied to a parking meter in Tampa, otherwise you get arrested. There's those dumb laws. So back when the Roswell incident occurred, whatever it be, if it was aliens, it could be just a Russian shuttle, it could be an American shuttle, whatever it be that people saw that night, what better tactic to discredit anyone who pointed that out as a loony?
Yeah.
What better tactic to destroy the credibility of that being a possibility?
I saw UFO. Oh, he saw UFO, y'all.
I mean, it became, they named everything Little Green Men. They have all these goofy things, and they make aliens goofy.
Well, that's why people got so mad with that one UFO sighting I always talk about from Phoenix, Arizona, back in, I believe, 1997, where so many people in Phoenix saw all of these ships and all of this activity in the sky. I mean, we're talking thousands of eyewitness accounts here. Even the governor was on record saying, we don't know what this was. And then a day or two later, goes by and they hold a press conference and he brings out a guy dressed as an alien, and all the press is laughing. And he makes a joke out of it, and then he kind of retracts his statement. People were pissed because they were basically saying, "You're dumb. You don't know what you saw." And there's a whole documentary on it.
Fantastic tactic to completely control the situation. And who's to say that they didn't research it for 10, 15 years? Like, what was that? You know, and then that program just got left buried in the government budget, and they're getting funds, and they're focusing on other things, and then they're like, oh yeah, should we tell people about aliens? They're like, yeah, it's been so long, just let them.
I would just say, love him or hate him, one thing I'm confident on, if there was any kind of government classified things that aliens were around, Trump would have released it by now.
You don't know that.
There's a lot of buried documents that he's got to go through.
I mean,
Yeah, if he has access to it, yeah, absolutely.
He was the first president since Kennedy's assassination to release the final retracted documents.
Will we ever
There was still some redacted parts out of those.
But that was
still.
the CIA or said that there were certain things that were.
The people that I want to listen to, I want to listen to the military people. I want to listen to the astronauts that were really out there, that really had eyewitness encounters, that are just telling their stories. I believe them. I don't think an astronaut would lie about seeing something he or she can't explain.
Well, and you think
maybe they would. Maybe they would.
Well, you think if anyone, an astronaut who's held in such high regards, if they saw something in space, they would be the most likely to see something in space.
Yeah, why
so
not?
Why wouldn't they get so much credit for that?
I agree, and I think that that would be a secret, and the only time there's not leaks that come out of a certain situation, if those people that are in that organization think it's for the greater good. And they really, really believe in that.
Or if they have a pension tied to keeping their mouth closed.
Right. Well, what happens when they're on the deathbed? That's where
threats.
deathbeds where everyone confesses anything, at the end, because they don't care. They don't care at the end. They put it in a journal or whatever. They tell their kids or whatever may be the case may be. I just think that, if you have something that's like that's when whistleblowers come out. That's when leaks come out. Unless they were like, this is for the greater good of humanity that we're not sharing this.
But sometimes stories do get out, and then they get landed as a loon or a crazy.
Like you're saying, Little Green Men. So let's say I had an encounter back in 1948.
For sure.
Back in the back streets of Pennsylvania. I totally saw that this alien was trying to probe my booty, and I had this real encounter. I go on record, and they go, Jay Bird was talking about an alien touching his ass. Okay, he is a lunatic.
It's kind of like Joan of Arc, man. She got a message from God, and then people try to punish her for it. It's just weird.
We should maybe reach back out to the Fire in the Sky guys. We might be able to get them on or something and ask them, because they've been out enough of the public eye long enough.
Oh, people, Becky, I don't think you understand how many alien dorks are out there. I mean, there's so many podcasts like ours. People, I'll look into that. Yeah, I mean, I would like to hear a alien abduction story for sure.
That one freaked me out. That I've told you before. That movie's
years ago when I had the paranormal show, we did reach out to Travis. And he actually answered our email. So
really?
Okay.
It's possible.
I love it.
We got a foot in the door.
I love it. Did you have any other ghost stuff, or that was it?
I can do ghost all
Yeah,
day.
I don't even think you had ghost stuff
Did you
going
hear the Virginia thing? Did you tell her about that? Were you going to bring that up later? Remember?
Virginia does want to do. I think I did tell you about this. Virginia's got a psychic. We're going to bring you along, and I think there was one other psychic that was going to be there, and just kind of have you guys all kind of read each other and read her house and read us and kind of like a psychic fair, I guess.
Yeah.
Would you be down for something like
Sure.
that? Okay. Just don't screw this up, Vicky.
I know your money's on me.
You're the front runner on this thing. I do want to play a quick little game here. I want to play good or bad.
Okay.
Does this sound good or does this sound just awful?
All right.
Pickled flavor slushy from Sonic. Good or bad? They're coming out with that. Sonic the food place.
Bad.
I think it would be good to have a sip, but you can't sit there and have a whole
So
one.
there's a pickle
Because
soda.
I do like pickles.
It's like a pickle fizzle drink. I don't know, whatever. I tried it once. It was it's like a good sip. You
I
take
drink
one
pickle juice.
sip. You like pickle juice?
I love pickle juice.
It's brine, right? It's
Okay, so
salty.
that makes me think that there is a market for. Angelica, would you drink pickled juice slushy?
No.
No,
she says no.
I think that'd be so gross. Those pickleback
Do you
shots.
ever do picklebacks?
Oh yeah, I love picklebacks.
Those pickleback shots, those are popular last year.
They were
those
blowing
are
up.
terrible.
If you've ever wondered who's the guy that buys those pickles floating in that plastic juice in the delis,
Really?
I buy those.
They're so giant.
I love pickles, but to just shoot pickle juice is like drinking foot water.
I don't even like pickles. Ugh.
It's good. It's hydrating. Some people drink that during marathons.
All right, Vicky, you're a no.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you're the sane one here. Denny's, you're a no.
No.
All
I
right,
can't
Beckett,
do it.
you've been outvoted, my man. Yeah, I don't think people are gonna like that.
What if they made a ketchup flavored slushy? Would you like that?
That's disgusting. Okay, good or bad idea? Driverless cars.
Great idea.
Vicky.
Not for me. If other people want to do it, that's fine. I don't
Yeah.
even like sitting in the passenger seat.
Denny's.
So, I mean, it's inevitable that we're going to have self-driving cars. It's just literally the future.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to drive anymore. And honestly, it'll be safer because of that.
Totally.
The benefits that do come with it is I imagine the roadway systems are going to have to made a special way. If there's a criminal trying to flee, they would not be able to drive. I'm sure they could lock them down if it's like magnetic or whatnot. I think there's a lot of benefits to self-driving cars. No more DUIs.
Yep.
No more crashing. You can sit on your phone. You actually get rewarded. So I tell everybody they have to see that movie WALL-E. It's literally going to
a great
evolve
movie.
to that point.
That's a great movie.
I'm with my pickleback girl. It ain't for me. But I'm old school. I'm a
Yeah.
dinosaur.
But I don't like him. I like driving a car.
I hate driving a car, but I also hate robots driving cars.
You're just in limbo, man.
Yeah, man. I wish we all could just walk to our destinations.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you can. We have that right.
You're right, we do. Daylight savings time. Do we get rid of it? Do we just make everything just change it? Is it stupid to have two different times a year?
Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on daylight savings time?
You guys are really mulling this one over here.
This one's
Yeah.
polarizing.
You guys aren't on the stand. Or
I'm a
anything.
globalist. I think everyone should be on the same currency. Everyone should be on the metric system. Everyone should be on the same time. The time zone.
Globalist, all
Yeah,
right.
globalist for sure. I don't know. I will say this. I like it to get dark later. I do like that. And
I like the little bit extra of sunlight.
I like to go on my jobs.
So wouldn't you like to have that all year long instead of all this bullshit like on that Saturday night where you're out hanging out with a hot chick like you'd like to do? It's 2 o'clock. Oh shit! No, it's not. It's 3 o'clock now. Don't
Right.
you want to get rid of that shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we keep it consistent.
Okay, all right, you're a globalist.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like that theory of everybody being on all the same. If you look at like sci-fi movies, that's like a typical theme. If Earth is now, terraforming on other planets, they usually do. It's kind of that theme.
I think we should all be on military time too.
It is easier.
It's way easier once you get used to
Once
it.
you
it's
get
way-
used to it, it's
yeah.
easier.
I just think everybody needs to be on the same page.
Okay, so we all
That's my thing.
So we all basically hate pickle shots and pickle shit,
No.
other than Beckett. Okay, cloning animals,
Not good.
not good.
The only exception is to prevent extinction. I would say that would be my only
Okay.
caveat.
All right, Vicky, you're saying no.
No.
It's too weird. We don't know what's gonna come of this.
I don't.
We
I
don't
don't really
need-
see the purpose unless, like Ryan said, and if we're trying to keep, a species alive. Which I mean, if it's, and that's another fine line too, depending on why it's extinct.
Maybe
We're getting
it's
ready to
supposed
go
to be?
Yeah, maybe it's supposed to be.
But 99.9%, I agree with you. But 99.9% of the time, it's humans' fault.
Yeah.
Denny's cloning animals, good or bad?
Well, we already cloned plants. What do you guys think of that one?
So I think the line that I draw is that I don't eat any sentient beings, right? So like plants aren't sentient, and sentient has a definition. I don't know exactly.
For sure.
It's it has qualities of consciousness, feeling, blah
Trust
blah blah.
me, I got an email from somebody that believes plants have feelings, and when you eat lettuce, it's screaming, and it was a serious email. So I'm like, what the shit do you eat then? What can you other than ice? Does
believe
ice
they're
have
just-
feelings?
I think they're just reactive. They react to
But
light.
but even if you think that plants regenerate, so like you can eat an apple and it grows another one, you're not killing the apple tree.
Yeah, it's organic. It's a
like-
living
yeah, it's just,
material.
yeah.
But I mean, we're cloning them. We're cloning plants. We're selling them. People are eating them.
Yeah.
The GMOs, man, those are all just clones. So I mean, if we're already eating plants, people were really outraged when that first came up, and then they kind of got over it. So I wonder if they start cloning animals, are people going to be outraged and then just get over
Well,
it
the
again?
EU doesn't really do GMOs, at least is my understanding. It's crazy because Bayer, which is a German company, which is the largest chemical
Europe
company.
does not do GMOs.
Right, exactly. So Bayer is the largest chemical company in the world, but Monsanto, the largest genetically...
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, so
Making pesticides.
the largest chemical company now owns the largest agricultural company. It's kind of scary.
It's scary because, I mean, they started off as pesticides and they were making new ones and they were genetically modifying plants because the bugs, like we were talking earlier with the cockroaches, man, they produce so often, they adapt so quick that they have to keep genetically modifying this stuff. And I mean, when you look at it at like it's genetically modified plants, it looks terrible. But you have to see what we've had to do over the years just to sustain plants in America.
Sex robots. Beckett, we know you're all for it. I'm all for it. Get your freak on as long as you're not hurting anybody. Screw a robot.
Is that what do you think that's called masturbation though?
I mean, it's a form of it, I think.
You think so?
Well, I think if you're using a fleshlight,
it's an interesting question.
Well,
it's definitely.
I think we all know what a fleshlight is.
Does it change if the robot has AI?
Well, I think it is.
She's like, that feels so good.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, like I said, in 30 years, they're going to play audio of me. Back in the day, he hated robots, and you know.
I'm never gonna be able to run for office after doing this podcast.
Oh my gosh! The thing is, I'm gonna run for office because of this podcast. Vicky, sex robots, yes or no?
Doesn't bother me. I could care less.
Okay, you're not offended, and Denny's. I know you freak.
The argument though is so think about it. Ideal situation, your mate, whatever they be, is perfect for you. It's everything that you want. It does everything you want. I mean, that subservience is, if you got that in a robot, you would never go out and find a real person. There's no point. You could have what you want instead of having the nagging, instead of having the chores to do, instead of the upkeep.
But I don't think, I think that this is an interesting topic. I don't think people like perfect. As much as people think they like perfect is boring. And I think that finding someone organically, like the troubles, it sounds weird, but like I think that's what's part of the attraction.
What if it gets to a point with AI though, to where you can hold a conversation? You only need a certain amount. I mean, even people can find companionship in dogs, and the dogs can't even speak to you aside from just guttural noises.
You could program. I mean, if you're talking about AI, you could program 10% of flaw. There'd be a setting on there where if you wanted that human experience, that have a setting on there to where your girl or your guy will argue with you for 10% of the time.
It's an interesting point.
Like a real human, if for that person that wants that reality part of it.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Because there are some people I can totally see, like you're saying, they just want to control something and have a robot to screw.
Well, think about it, yeah, or just even be your companion.
And be your companion that's pumping you up constantly.
It has no negatives that you don't like. You're pretty much set. And think, if one generation made it through that, the next generation would already be conditioned to think that was normal. And then why would they ever go out and find another person? And then there's gonna be, what's gonna happen then?
We just solved our population problem.
Ultimate population control. That's what I think we just cracked it, man.
That's the whole reason.
That's the secret.
This crack team, I tell you what. This
it all comes full circle.
This crackpot team, I should say.
We're on crack.
That's more accurate. Real quick, good idea, bad idea. Spice Girls reunion.
Great idea.
Vicky?
Sure.
It's got to be all members, otherwise no.
Agree with Denny's on that. Even though Posh can't sing, we still need Posh.
I didn't like the idea of Gem either, which was only 3 members.
I didn't like it either. Last one we'll talk about is there's a device now where you can put your smartphone or your laptop or your little whatever device in a shower. It's protected. You can do work. You can send emails in the shower. You can be efficient while you're washing your balls, Beckett. Good idea or bad?
I don't know. I think I got to focus in that moment.
I mean, do we really need to work in the shower? How obsessed are we getting with technology? You can't take a shower now. The commercial's ridiculous. It shows all these people working in the shower.
Yeah.
Good idea, bad idea, Vicky?
No, we don't need it. I mean, I do bring my phone in there to listen to music.
Part of the problem, Vicky.
I know.
No, that's cool because I do that too.
But I wouldn't like work.
You guys don't sing.
I don't
in the
even like to
shower?
work at work. I don't want to work in the shower.
Listening to music is way different than answering
do.
emails or being on Facebook in the shower. I mean,
Facebook Live.
And
Dude, I like text all the way up until I'm answering emails all the way up until the point I jump in and then I get out.
Really?
I think they should put a screen in there.
you do?
No,
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I think it's terrible.
Are you a text pooper?
Yo, dude. I mean, you're there anyway. That's when I get all my stuff done. Just like I call people when I'm in the car and I know I have to drive more than 20 minutes.
Okay.
I get it all. That's just like.
Yeah, it's a good time to decompress.
Exactly.
All right, y'all. Well, let's end it on that. Poop texting. Do you guys have anything to plug real quick?
I think we should do one Would You Rather.
I don't have anything. If you got something,
I
I'm
don't
like,
think I do actually.
go to the top of the dome.
Yeah, dome piece.
Those never work out. That's why I want to do it.
Huh. Would you rather?
Get the bomb, the bomb sound, or the crickets ready, Denny's.
Would you rather be single for the rest of your life, or
Okay, that one.
or meet the woman of your dreams for a year, only to have her and be like have the most amazing year of your life only for her to break your heart after the year?
Oh my God, single forever.
Really? You would do the love? It's better to love and lost than never loved at all?
You got to watch some of these cliches because some of them are not true. I don't know.
What do you guys?
She's gonna break your heart. That's how you end it.
And you already know the inevitable. I'd just rather be lonely. I'd
Get a robot.
sex
Yeah.
robot with some AI.
Program it for 10% argument. And
I see you're in the robot thing too? Everyone was making fun of me as being the freak, and everyone else is on board with me, it turns out.
I've never been against the robot. It's for the sexual purpose. I don't want them taking our jobs.
You're kind of like me. I think you get attached.
I do get attached. I get it. Yeah.
I think you go in with like kind of like this hard mentality, and then before you know it, you're like,
I got walls.
you're
Beckett.
taking her to the movies, and
I got walls around this old gristled heart.
And I don't think they're taking our jobs.
What,
I mean, maybe this generation, but the next one, they'll all be like technicians, and people will be all savvy. That's why
Denny's,
they're training them.
Robots are coming for that ass, and you just need to be
But
prepared.
the jobs will just shift
I'm
to
coming
people.
for their ass.
Yeah, you are. I'll tell you, Denny's, we're taking over our robots. Okay, well, that's all we got, guys. Thank you guys for listening. You guys have a happy Easter. Have a happy holiday. If you don't celebrate Easter, have a happy weekend. We love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.